Knight Frank is a property advisory and estate agency, global based company, but headquartered here in London. And back in 2007, we sort of came up with the concept of the wealth report, and the idea was that we'd seen a number of the private banks producing reports on wealth and investments and so on, but we felt there was a gap in the market in terms of understanding the impact of private wealth on property. And the rationale was, the reality is wealthy people are our clients, so we're interested in them, but actually we thought, why would the rest of the world be interested in what wealthy people are buying and doing? And I think the rationale we came up with really was actually where the weight of private money has been rising, or the private wealth has been rising as a share of investment flows over the last decade or so, and it's having impacts on markets, and some significant impacts. And therefore, actually, if we can bring to the table an understanding of where the money's coming from, why it's moving around the world, and what are the kind of the policy implications for governments, etc. As a result of this, we'll be able to share some interesting findings.
Most people who know us will think of us as providers of some of the best and perhaps luxurious homes in London. And actually most people who think of luxury residential development will have a vision of developments as perhaps opulence, grand entrances, very rich palette of materials and so on. And what we do and what we've always done is not quite that. And actually I suppose we would challenge the notion of luxury, or the definition of luxury, particularly in residential development, and look beyond that in what we think is an era beyond luxury. And so, principally, rather than focusing on luxury as other developers might, we focus on quality and quality of everything, whether it's quality of design, embracing British craftsmanship, the wider offering to the people who buy our apartments or the general public locally, or contributions towards art and culture, or other direct benefits to the community that I go on to. So the first one, this one is really about design. There are quite a few pictures here of near Bankside, which is probably our better known development here. It's by Roger Stark Hardman Partners, a very top, if not the top British architect. This is shortlisted for the RIBA Sterling Prize and had countless other awards. There's also 10 Wanderers Place down there. But this sums up the kind of thing, for us, this is quality, but I don't think luxury in how most people will perceive luxury.
Foundation of differentiating luxury from a mass market has always been the backstory, the origin, the genuine, authentic creator, founder. Top left you've got Ferruccio Lamborghini, and in the 40s, after he'd done his service, he was actually a producer of agricultural machinery, and tractors and things. It's hard to imagine. But
Can you still buy a Lamborghini tractor?
I don't know, actually thinking about this, I wondered, but it'd be cool to have, wouldn't it? And but he was passionate about cars and engineering in particular, and saw Ferrari. Was envious of Ferrari, so set up in 1963 the famous Lamborghini Mark. Here you've got what I think is one of the fantastic attitude profiles of all time. Sort of FU basically attitude coming from Chanel, and it's that passion, it's that attitude that forms the story. As we move into design codes, which luxury is fond of issuing and referring to in terms of replicating its DNA, all kinds of formats. In fact, going back to you've got architects, Peter Marino was used by Chanel to create that wonderful external lighting on a Chanel store, whereby the lighting replicated the black and white tweed, for example. So, and then the Savoy, of course, is where Gucci was the lift boy before he went back to Florence and set up Gucci. Yeah, and that's in itself is not interesting. What is interesting is the fact that he observed the rich in action and saw weaknesses in products or ideas that made him not want to do that.
So we've been working with Harrods for quite a few years. We have done 4 interior projects for them. These are These are two of them. Escalator Hall 3, so those two images there are the first escalator hall we did for them, which opened a couple of years ago, and that's a Dale Chihuly chandelier in the space, and then Super Brands, which is the image that's kind of behind, which opened last year, and we're going to be looking at extending that. Now at Harrods, what's interesting is when obviously we still call them the new owners came, they're not so new anymore, they wanted to reposition the store within the luxury market. It had become, I would say, tarnished. It was no longer a luxury product, and that wasn't to do with necessarily the products they were selling, but it was to do with how that service was being delivered and also the spaces that service is being delivered in. And part of the drive, the capital spend that Harrods are placing within the store is phenomenal year on year. The escalator hall that we've just opened 2 weekends ago, they spent £20 million on an escalator hall. All our Harrods projects are about stripping it back. I mean, obviously Harrods is a listed building. We work very closely with Historic England, and we have a historic advisor on board telling us what are the original elements, but there is so much that has kind of accrued over the years that needs to be stripped back.
But even within the St James range that we've launched in London, it's based on a very young Winston Churchill. Why? Everyone will think of Winston Churchill as a leader, but he was a prolific polo player from his army days sort of through. It's based on his style as a young player. His great nephew is one of our ambassadors. We don't use models or anything through even when we are launching our lifestyle ranges. We use polo players. We have some of the England players working for us at the moment, and George Churchill works for us at the moment. And in our sort of autumn-winter launch, it was based at Blenheim Palace, etc. But done in a way, obviously, with George Churchill being there, it was about him going home.
You had 4 million people at the V&A, 30 million people online. So museums are now content creating brands and all that sort of thing. But I feel very strongly about how we are organising our cities and what it means to be a citizen in the city, not a consumer. And Phillips is really about us being contemporary experts in visual culture. And we've probably gone from being number 3 in contemporary to being about joint number 1, don't you think, Katie? We're so well thought of now because this is why I ask about Harrods. We know exactly who we are and what we stand for. We're experts and we're about the now.